3 out of 5 stars. Reviewed May 4th, 2008. The music is too mature for both my 5 and 7-year-old kids. I don't like listening to either one of them sing, "Don't you wish your girlfriend were hot like me? Don't you wish your girlfriend was a freak like me?" Also, I'm not a fan of hearing my son do his Alvin impersonation of "bow chicka wow wow chicka wow wow" while thrusting his hips left and right. Very disappointed in the music, but the movie is entertaining.
Well, certainly it's entertaining, but I feel for that person.
Welcome to another lab experiment on this podcast, the Speakuel podcast, where we use this device, the Speakuel device, to reach into the different cinematic universes. And today we've broached another universe. We've finished with Stuart Little, and now we're on to another rodent multiverse, the Chipmunks. But of course, we don't start with, the classic, the classic TV show or the classic movies, maybe like the 80s or like the 90s ones. No, we start with the 2007 Alvin and Chipmunks movie where little Theodore poops a little pellet and then his brother Simon has to eat the poop. That's what we do.
What a shitty scene. So, Alvin and the Chipmunks is a movie that bombards you with sensory. It bombards your senses with lights and colors and sounds and music, and it's just a lot to take in, and it's honestly really hard to remember a lot of individual moments because it's a one long dance party, it feels like.
Well, if I had to use one word to describe the first of this, there's like 3 or 4 of these specific Chipmunk movies, I think.
How many are there? Because I've been thinking about it today. I'm like, so we watched the first one.
There's a few, but if there's one word I would use to describe these movies, or at least this movie that we watched, it would be probably empty.
It's pretty
vapid.
It's as vapid as the no shirt that the Chipmunks wear for nearly half the movie.
for a good chunk of the movie, they do not wear any kind of clothing.
I thought the clothing was going to be more of like, I mean, they did make kind of a little like, there's the monks we remember, but like it wasn't as impactful as I thought it would be, because they just kind of get their wardrobe and they start making money.
Well, I think this movie has a lot to do. It had a lot on its plate. It was like a reboot of this IP, this like decades old IP of these like little talking chipmunks.
First live action like attempt.
Mm-hmm. And they wanted to do an origin story. And they did that, and they wanted to set up all these characters because they knew they were gonna have a Speakuel and a threequel and a road chip and all those.
Oh, road chip! That's the one I was missing in my head. Thank you, Rene. Because I remembered Chipwrecked and I remembered Speakuel. Those, but God. God forbid I remember that one, right?
So, as a result, I think this movie feels like filled to birth, like with scenes and like setup and everything. It's an hour and like 35-minute movie somewhere
It's
around
like an
there.
hour and 45 minutes.
There's no way it's that
Wasn't
long.
it that long?
No, it absolutely wasn't that long.
It is
probably
92
30.
minutes long. So it was only
An hour and a half, essentially.
yeah,
Like an hour and 32 minutes, right?
Yeah, but it feels like 2 hours long.
It feels super long.
I get what you're saying, though, Rene. They had to put in a lot. They had to establish a lot. They had to establish, yes, they're chipmunks. Yes, they sing. Yes, they have that Christmas song that everybody knows. Dave yelling Alvin in a comedic way.
Oh,
they
and
have
he
to
doesn't
establish
ever.
that.
He never does it good until like the very last one. Like he doesn't.
all the Alvins absolutely suck shit in this movie.
Fucking
They
that
suck
actor,
so much.
the guy who played Earl in My Name Is Earl.
I'll contest. There's like a couple of weak Alvins. Well, one of them was because he was like wasn't like trying to yell Alvin. But anyway, like I
Didn't
think
sound like his heart was in it, Renee.
Either way, it wasn't
no. Like
was
I contest. There's like the sound of like a good Alvin, like the way he intones that Alvin.
It sounded like he
is
hesitated midway through it, like he was embarrassed to say it out loud.
Like he's standing there, he sees all the cameras pointing at him, and he's like remembering his lines in the scripts that he's been practicing for weeks now, and he sees all these eyes on him. There's like an intern kind of snickering and like behind the camera.
I shit you
He's
not.
like...
I shit you not. In that scene, he goes, Alvin, and like he could have put there should be some emotion in there. It just seems
well,
like
that's the thing. Is this that they want you very badly in this movie to think that there is a deep emotional, familial, like found family bond between the Chipmunks and Dave, but they're awful little creatures
most
who
of
like
the
ruin
movie,
his life.
they are making big ol' fucking messes. They are making big messes in Dave's house, and it's really like it makes you mad. They throw goldfish. Oh god, and there's a scene where like all the chipmunks they get into Dave's cupboard, and this is before they actually meet the guy, and you see all the brands in the cupboard. You see
cheesy poofs.
You see cheesy poops and goldfish and all sorts of treats, and they throw all that shit all over the place. They throw it on the walls and the floor. It's horrible.
They're both animal and children. They don't know any better. Like,
that's not an excuse.
But like they try
in high
for Dave.
school.
Like there's a bit.
They should know better.
Well, they're young right now, and like there's a bit of that like trying to acclimate to like being like being proper children, and then there's like Dave like learning to be a parent. So there's that like interplay there where they're learning from each other. It's not particularly good, and there's a few like scenes and jokes that it's like okay, this is a bit like off color. Which I think really inspired a weird trend in Hollywood to have like well, of course, like the live action, like middle-aged guy gets his life ruined by fictional creatures movie.
Yeah, real Smurfs are like
Sonic the Hedgehog,
Honich the Hedge.
But also just like like really laying into these weird little fictional surrogate children. Like with the Sonic movie, that one joke where like Sonic was in the carrier case and it's like, oh, that's just my child. Blah, blah, blah.
There's a joke exactly like that in the Alvin and the Chipmunks. It's like you could see the the genealogy reaching across time from Alvin and the Chipmunks to Sonic the Hedgehog 2019.
The idea of is that you say something that sounds like it should only apply to like a a varmint of some kind, but then you make people think you're talking about children.
Right.
But they
now,
are
his children.
They are his
By the
children.
end,
okay,
so that doesn't work.
But
I feel like we need to lay out a little bit of a timeline, just so I can get this point I'm about to make across, which is that these people are horrible for each other, and Dave did a complete 180 on these children. So the Chipmunks fall into Dave's life, and he's having trouble as like a songwriter, marketer guy.
A lover.
He's and as a lover, he can't get laid. And he sees these chipmunks, and they're making a mess of his house. But then before he can really he kind of kicks them to the curb, and they start singing a sad song, and he's like, "Oh, your voices, I can use you." And so he does. Writes a little Christmas song. Then takes him back to his to the villain of the movie, I guess.
Yeah,
David Cross.
I love the villain in this movie. Pretty much every scene where he has some lines.
It's gold.
It's gold.
It's
gold.
good.
There's one part where he calls them "they're rats, Dave." I really liked that one.
So he brings him to Ian, who is his his boss, who, kind of you said his songs were sucky and he couldn't work there anymore. He brings these chipmunks in a little box. And this whole time, these chipmunks have been very personable, very sociable, talking their mouths off at Dave, which we'll get to the talking chipmunks part later. And he brings them to Ian, and they suddenly, all of a sudden, just decide that they're actually terrified and scared of singing and have stage fright, and so they refuse to sing in front of him. And so Ian just thinks he's crazy because he brought him a box of chipmunks and they can't sing. And then afterwards, they ruin a date he has, and then they drew all over his marketing posters, so he got fired from his job. And at this point, he's like, "I'm gonna need to get rid of these guys. These guys suck so much."
Do all chipmunks look as animated as the chipmunks we see in this movie, in this world?
I don't
No,
want to
next question.
spoil anything. Well, I don't want to spoil anything, or I should say, get ahead of ourselves. But in the credits scene, Ian is trying to teach a bunch of squirrels to sing, and they're just realistic.
They're
squirrels.
realistic squirrels, but I wonder if chipmunks, if they can look realistic too. Do they have?
I don't know. We don't know.
Why don't you have the answers?
Well, that's what we're here to find out. We're researching this movie. Now, and this whole sequence of him finding the chipmunks, them continuously making a mess of his life, goes on for 30 minutes of the movie until they finally get off their asses and, sing for Ian, and then they become, rich, and he gets hired back on. And then all of a sudden he's just like, "I should keep you boys around. Yeah, we can make this work." and he even they're on Christmas, he's specifically "So, whoa, you guys know, I'm not your dad or anything, okay? This is business."
Yeah,
listen,
I don't want a family, especially rodent family.
I gotta make mention that it feels really funny how tacked on it is that the chipmunks love Christmas. They don't really know how to celebrate it and stuff, but they hear the word Christmas and they're like, "Oh, Christmas, we love Christmas," just to set up that they know what Christmas is, to sing a song and whatever. Is this movie really a Christmas movie?
No, not at all.
It's not.
There's hardly any. I don't think there's any snow, really. Christmas is just a day that happens in the halfway point in the movie, and it doesn't really have any bearing on the plot aside from Dave gives them a really lame but practical gift, and they give him shit. By the way, they give him.
Hey! Simon gives him a homemade compass. And that's
okay.
That's made of
sweet.
paper and a paper clip, and that's darling.
And then Theodore gives him a useless drawing, and then
a useless drawing. Hey, he worked hard to draw.
And Alvin gave him his own wallet back, which I'm assuming he stole and wrapped the night before.
Yes, I believe that's what happened.
Well, Alvin, that a lovable, impish rogue, worms his way into your heart.
Now, this is what I mean, though. Dave is, like, kind of cruel to them. Like, he's constantly yelling at them, setting rules. But I think the thing they're going for is that he's supposed to be more of, like, a strict parent role. Like, he's setting bedtimes. He's like, okay, you guys can't watch too much TV. Like, all this other stuff. And the Chipmunks, who were just now getting a taste of the sweet life, were just like, this sucks.
Yeah.
We're rock stars. We should be able to, like, stay up past our bedtime and have a lot of presents. I mean, Ian, who they call Uncle Ian, like, gives them a bunch of gifts and toys and stuff.
I love it.
Because, of course.
I love when Uncle Ian, I love it when he, like, tries to pressure them into doing things for him. Because whenever he, like, tempts them with the good life, they always have to mention, but Dave says that we should go to bed early.
And he's like, well, I'm your Uncle Ian, so who gives a shit? Go party, rock stars.
Go party, little chipmunk rock stars.
They, like, if they didn't have, like, I know they gotta have, like, an antagonist for this sort of plot, but, like, Uncle Ian, really serves to just make Dave look better as a surrogate parent. Like, you see what they're doing, and, like, I appreciate that, like, like, over the course, he's, like, learning that he cares about these little guys and stuff, and, like, he, without knowing it, really is just, like, nurturing and, like, trying to, like, set, like, parental, like, guidelines, but, I feel like, as a result of this movie's breakneck pacing, we don't get a lot of time to have that growth feel organic. It just feels he goes from, I want these rats out of my house, I hate these disgusting vermin, I literally talk about how, oh, don't you want to just, like, throw them in a box and, like, throw them away? He says this to something like that to a lady in the grocery store while he's carting them.
He says it to a stranger, like, and that was the joke. That was, like, the Sonic joke,
like,
right?
Like that's, like, the funny thing, right? But, like, he's actively with these kids, and, like, he's actively accepted them into his life. You can't do that joke and then, like, at the same time we're supposed to, like, see him as this caring father. No, it's not.
There's very few genuinely tender moments between the Chipmunks and Dave. Like, there's a moment where Theodore's like, can I sleep in the bed with you? I'm having a nightmare, or something like that. And then they ruin it with a fart joke.
That was so pitiful. That was so sad, the way Theodore looked at him and went, Dave, can I sleep with you tonight? I'm afraid of the dark.
Like, things like that. It's like, oh, how sweet. He's, opening up his nurturing side, letting Theodore snuggle in his bed. But then he just farts on him anyway, so it doesn't matter. None of it matters. And by the end of it, they choose to live with Uncle Ian because he lets them do whatever they want, and they get kind of burnt out because they're doing all these recordings and they're having to do a tour and stuff, and they're struggling to perform. And Dave's like, I gotta get my boys back. I gotta get them back. My boys who I love so very much.
My boys who made me so much
a real
money.
sterling commentary on child stardom affecting the youth. A little heavy-handed.
No, I think it makes its point, and it makes it subtly.
Oh yeah, you know what I really like that's really subtle to do is that Ian, every time the Chipmunks, like, say something positive about Dave or something, Ian makes up some just absolute wild bullshit that, by the way, never gets corrected throughout the entire movie.
Yeah,
like,
he was just like,
never clarified that. Like, he'll say Dave calls you rats behind your back. Oh, Dave's like, talking about how much he loves that you're out of his house right now, and they never ask him about it.
And they're just like, he said that?
He could. What was it when we were watching the movie? You were like, Uncle Ian could be like, "Oh, Dave's eating chipmunk roast."
Yeah, he's at home. He's at home eating chipmunk roasts. Yeah, it's just horrible. He also wishes that was you that he was eating instead.
You told me this. Yeah, I know, right? Horrible.
So fucked up. I don't know why he told me that, even. It's weird.
Well, I feel like we've talked about Dave and the Chipmunks dynamic, which is I think the crux of the film, but I'd like to take a moment to delve into maybe the grander world view of... So, Ian is surprised when the chipmunks sing. Dave is shocked when the chipmunks talk to him. When he's on a date with a girl and he's like, it's singing chipmunks, I have them. She looks at him like he's crazy. So I think we can, take from this that it's established that the world is very similar to ours in that chipmunks don't talk or sing, right?
Not normally, no.
So, what the fuck? What the fuck are they?
Well,
there's no supernatural explanation for them. There's no explanation, period. It's just, we start the movie with these feral little chipmunks, but like, all walking and talking and whatnot, and then like Alvin's just like, I'm fed up with this whole thing, survival, eating nuts and stuff. I just want to quit it. So like it implies that like they at the very least were like complicit with their whole like feral lifestyle, and we're gonna like maintain that until like their life took a turn for these. But they have the abilities to speak since the beginning of the movie. We don't know how, we don't know why.
I think they might have been gifted with the sweet power of speech.
Later we'll see other chipmunks, or should I say chipettes, who have this ability, this innate ability as well. We'll see how those latent abilities come about, but I think we can say that this might just be a unique occurrence, a rare occurrence that manifests.
It sure is.
Do you think the chipettes and the normal Alvin and the chipmunks, do you think they're connected somehow? Like, do you think when one set appeared in the world, the other did too?
Oh, it's like destiny. Like they just woke up.
Yeah, like
they were, their abilities were unlocked at the same time.
Like they're a bit like, suddenly these 3 or 6 chipmunks exist, and they are the way that they are from birth till they die.
They will always be like this. And it's so amazing how quickly the world just accepts them and, might I say, just absolutely adores them.
Love
goes
them.
Nuts for them.
Man.
They make their famous Christmas song, and then they're like, okay, here's a fun little number we're gonna do. And they, like, it's the Witch Doctor song, the Witch Doctor scene, which in my opinion is the best scene in the movie. Because you got this, like, I guess, you got this guy on the turntables, you've got background dancers, you've got these, like, really pretty women singing for the chipmunks, and then they just, like, burst out of the ground in, like, a steaming cauldron and start doing these absolute insane dance moves in perfect synchronization.
When this scene happened, I just, like, I looked at Lucy through the Discord call and I said, what if you were there? What if you were there when this, like, you were one of the people who got to see, like, the chipmunks, and, like, it was in that period before you're like, what, chipmunks? What's that? I don't know what and then you get there and it's real? It's all real. And they're dancing for you. And it's amazing. Like, not only do you feel like you got your money's worth for the tickets, but you also are happy that you're one of the first people to see something like this.
That would be so beautiful. I think I would feel complete. I think I would feel happy knowing that I was a part of such amazing history. What about you, Rene? How do you how do you think you would feel?
I feel the exact opposite. I feel like it's the scene from Jacob's Ladder, the nightclub scene. I feel like it's exactly like that.
Explain.
These like inhuman forms writhing in whatchamacallit, the like flashing light, like strobe light. These inhuman forms writhing, unclear, in this like flashing strobe light scene. Everyone's like disregarding it, but you the casual observer, Jacob, you see this, and it's driving you crazy, and then you feel like you're in hell.
Hey, you remember Jacob's kid from Jacob's Ladder, like his dead kid, Rene?
We're not getting into this right now. We're not getting into.
What if that was Alvin? What if and this is for all you people who have seen Jacob's Ladder.
No, I'm gonna level with you. Nobody in our audience has seen Jacob's Ladder. I can bet you that.
That's impossible. I'm just
type in the comments if you've seen Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah, type in the comments if you've seen Jacob's Ladder. It inspired Silent Hill.
Anyway, let's get back to the topic
of
singing chipmunks. How do you think? Don't you think there would be some people? Maybe perhaps this was 2007. It's a different time than our 30XX or whatever year we're in.
Whatever.
But imagine.
Hard to tell without the song.
Imagine it now. Wouldn't you think? I mean, I don't mean to be crass, but don't you think that maybe if you were watching some dancing, singing chipmunks, it might, I don't know, be a little cringy? Wouldn't you kind of like like
no? This was the ancient year of 2007. Where they just had a different culture, a different palette entirely from us. We can't judge this period piece by the standards of our modern day. I think they would have thought. I mean, just judging by the patterns of history and the trends of fashion and the really cool role models. I think, scientifically speaking, during the time frame of 2007, people must have thought that the chipmunks were kind of badass.
I don't know if that's really necessarily changed. I mean,
what do you mean?
I sat through that movie. I watched all of it, I'm pretty sure, and I can tell you that there are a lot of moments where I did look at those three and think, hey, that is pretty badass. There's something to this.
That's probably why there was, 3 sequels to this movie. There's gotta be something about these guys. It can't end here. It doesn't end here. They're reunited with Dave at the end of the movie, and, it's just them and Dave, and they're gonna have, a regular, child life. They could sing, it's fine, but he's not going to make them rock stars. He's going to let them be children. He's going to take care of them. Dave's got them. And who knows what kind of wacky adventures they're going to get into in these next few movies. I mean, if they're not rock stars, what are they?
Y'all, I'm so happy these movies were a success.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that they've started a whole trend in Hollywood of just the same schlock year with Yogi Bear, the Smurf, Woody Woodpecker.
Don't bring him up. Don't talk about him. That's a scary guy, Yogi Bear. But what I mean is, if this movie didn't make it, then Alvin and the Chipmunks would be a relic of the past.
A failed production.
It would be yeah, they tried to revamp Alvin and the Chipmunks with CG, but it didn't work. People didn't like it. But it did work. Alvin and the Chipmunks is alive in our hearts. as true as can be, still in 20XX.
And we're still paying for it.
We sure are, and I feel like we're gonna get a deeper understanding of the Chipmunks characters, because I feel like they, like you said a lot earlier, they had to rush a lot of things in here. They had to establish a lot. So I feel like the next movie we're gonna get to see them as, you know, their caricatures, their stereotypes, and that will be fun. I think it'll be fun to see them, because I know no spoilers, I guess, except spoilers. They're going to high school in the next movie, and that's gonna be lots of fun. I can't wait to see Alvin as the jock. That's definitely what
I'm really excited to see Theodore as whatever role he plays in that movie.
he's just a set piece, to be honest.
The third one.
He is a bit of a third one. He gets stuck in a lot of things because, you know, Theodore's butt is so big. Do y'all remember that? The graph that got Dave in trouble?
Yeah, that's right. They when Dave went to work and he was showing his little, you know, poster presentations, I guess the boys had gotten a little rowdy with some coloring and they drew a big picture of Theodore's butt. Mm-hmm. You know what? It kind of got me.
It was pretty funny.
The size of Theodore's butt.
I almost said what a fun time in reference to the movie, but that would be a lie, because there was a lot of that movie that was genuinely unpleasant.
It's pretty boring.
Yeah, it's as far as the Chipmunk movies go, this one, as fast paced as it was and as jammed in as anything they could get into it, there's a lot of parts that were just like, here's them, you know, watching SpongeBob.
Oh, there is so much of the movie that was just like, alright, this is a gag scene, and then after that, another gag scene, and then, like, if you're still not full yet, save some room, because we got a big mess scene coming up, and then we got a song.
And then the song scene.
And it sort of repeats that rhyme scheme, like A, B, B, C, D, E, A, A. It you know, it mixes it up. It's enough for it to feel like a movie that is coherent.
It's a movie.
It's a movie. It's certainly a movie, god damn it. And, like, can we not just, like, give it a round of applause for that?
Everybody, whoever, if you're listening, let's just go. Come on, everyone. Come on, Gert, Rene, come on, join me. Yeah.
Hooray for the bare minimum.
Good job for being a movie, Alvin and the Chipmunks. I look forward to your 3 sequels.
Oh boy. Well, I certainly do think we have a lot of, you know, research ahead of us.
Now wait, hold on.
Huh? Yeah.
Didn't we forget something?
What did we forget?
Didn't we forget to do something that the people of, like, the wider internet realm asked us, expected of us?
Are we gonna decide which one of us is the Alvin, Simon, and Theodore? Okay, if you didn't watch our Q&A stream, this will be new information to you. Exciting information. So I'm going to do the same thing I did on that thing, which is, and I'm going to count to 3, and everyone say what chipmunk you are, okay? All right. 3, 2, 1. Alvin!
Theodore.
Gert didn't say anything because you took her chipmunk. Oh, so now Rene's the Theodore.
You actually,
Gert's the Simon.
For a second, I thought I forgot my chipmunk's name because you said it, and I was just like, how did I do it? I'm making a fucking joke of myself here. I forgot my chipmunk's name, but you just took it. You made me think that I've forgotten my Theodore.
Well, maybe it's about time that I'm the Theodore of the group, you know? Like, hey, I work hard enough here.
You know, what makes us anything?
I can't tell you, but But you know, I it's my turn on the Theodore. I get to be Theodore. I get to be the cute little chipmunk.
You want to sleep with Dave because you're scared of the dark?
All right, ladies,
You know what?
ladies,
You
calm
can
down.
be Theodore then.
Hey, we
No,
can't.
you
We
can
don't
have
have
it,
time
it's
for this. The sun's coming up. We gotta get out of here.
How do we know that? We're 3,000 meters underground. How do we know the sun's coming up?
I got a sun clock. You know, like in Minecraft.
Oh yeah, like you got. Oh yeah, I love playing Minecraft on my hyper drive.
All right, everybody. It's been fun. I'm Lucy. Next time the Speakuel. Squeakquel? Next time the Squeakquel.
Next on the Squeakuel, squeak.
What's your name? Your name.
I'm Rene, and I'm shutting down this broadcast.
I'm Gert, and I'm going to slink off back into my lair.
Goodbye, everybody. See you next time.